Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ali Karim, roll number 17 ES43, presented to Dr. Abdul Alim Jamali, and my topic is transducers. Transducer is a device which transforms a non-electrical physical quantity, temperature, sound, or a light into electrical signal, voltage, current, capacity. In other words, it is a device that is capable of converting the physical quantity into a proportional quantity such as voltage or current. Pressure into voltage. Pressure is converting into voltage. Block diagram of transistors. Transistor contains two parts that are closely related to each other: its sensing element and transduction element. The sensing element is called the sensor. It is a device producing measurable response to change in physical conditions. The transduction element converts the sensor output to suitable electrical form. Parameter: pressure, temperature, forces in sensing element, sensor output, transduction element is converting into electrical signals. Transducer selection factors. Sensitivity: the transducer must be sensitive enough to produce detectable output. Operating range: the transducer should maintain the range requirement and have a good resolution over the entire range. Its accuracy: high accuracy is accused. High accuracy is assumed. Cross sensitivity: it has to be taken into account when measuring mechanical quantities. There are situations where the actual quantity is being measured into plane and the transducer is suitable variation in another plane. Errors: the transducer should maintain the expected in-output relationship as described by the transfer function so as to avoid errors. Operating principle: the transducer are many times selected on the basis of couple operating principle used by them. The operating principle used may be resistive, inductive, capacitive, optoelectronic, piezoelectronic, etc. Transient and frequency response: the transducer should meet the desired time domain specification like peak, overshoot, rise time, getting time, and small dynamic error. Loading effects: the transducer should have a high input impedance and low output impedance to avoid loading effects. Environmental capability: it should be measured that are the transducer selected to work under specified environmental conditions, maintains its input and output relationship, and does not break down. Insensitivity to unwanted signals: the transducer should be minimally insensitive to unwanted signals and highly sensitive to desired signals. Classification of transducers: analog and digital transducers, primary and secondary transducer and inverse transducer on the basis of transduction principle used, and active and passive transducers. Analog and digital transducers. Analog transducers converts electrical signal to output signal, which is a condition function of time such as thermistor, strain gauge, LVDT. LVDT, linear variable differential transformer, thermocouple, etc. Digital transducer convert input signal into the output signal in the form of pulses. It gives a discrete output. These transducers are becoming more popular nowadays because of advantages associated with digital measuring instruments and also due to the fact that digital signals can be transmitted over a long distance without causing much distortion due to amplitude variation and phase shift. Primary transducers. When the input signal is directly sensed by the transducers and physical phenomenon is converted into electrical form directly, then such a transducer is called primary transducer. For example, a thermistor used for the measurement of temperature fall in the iris category. The thermistor senses the temperature directly and causes the change in resistor with the change in temperature. Secondary transducers. When the input signal it is sensed by the some detector or sensor, and then its output being of some form of other then input signal is given as input to a transducer for conversions into electrical form. Them such as transducer falls in a category of secondary transducers. For example, in case of pressure measurement, Burden tube is the primary sensor which converts pressure first into displacement, then the displacement converts into output voltage by an LVDT. LVDT is a secondary transducer. Inverse transducers. It is a device converts an electrical quantity into non-electrical quantity. It is a precision actuator having an electrical input and a lower power non-electrical output. For example, piezoelectronic crystal and transnational and angular moving coil elements can be employed in inverse transducers. A most useful application of inverse transducers is in feedback measuring systems. On the basis of transduction principle used, resistive transducers, capacitive transducers, inductive transducers, voltage and current generating transducers, active transducers. Self generating type transducer is the transducers which develop their output in the form of electrical voltage or current without any auxiliary source. Normally, such transducers give very small output, therefore, the use of amplifier becomes essential. For example, tachogenerator used for measurement of angular velocity, thermocouples used for measurement of temperature, piezoelectronic crystal used for measurement of force. Classification of active transducers. Active transducers is uh, photovoltaic, thermoelectric, electromagnetic, piezoelectronic, electric, chemical, others. Passive transducers. Transducers in which electrical parameters, resistance, inductance, or capacitance changes with the change in the input signal are called the passive transducers. These transducers require external power source for any convergence. In such transducers, electrical parameters, resistance, inductors, and capacitance causes change in voltage, current, or frequency of the external power source. For example, resistive, capacitive, inductive, and inductive transducers. Advantages: it is high accuracy and good stability, easy to fabricate and install. The transfer characteristics is linear. Input is directly proportional to output. They can will stand high temperature. It consumes very less power. It has low high stresses, loss and good repeatability. Rugged construction. Its output is very high. LVDT is proved to error due to temperature. For getting the applicable differential output related, large displacement is required. LVDT is sensitive to strategic magnetic fields. The dynamic response is limited for LVDT due to mass of core. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.